Hello everyone. Once again, I welcome you to the one more session of student induction program. Today we are about to discuss volleyball. As we have seen that for the very first two games, we have discussed racket games. Yesterday we have gone through basketball. Today we are going through volleyball, which are like team games. So hopefully you get some of the knowledge about how the game is played. Later, when you get a chance to play it practically, you can use the whole of these ideas to put on the ground and help to develop your game. So today we will be seeing volleyball. So every game till now which we have discussed are planned in such a way that the game is played by both boys and girls. So need not to worry. So all these theory sessions and learning activity sessions are helpful to both boys and girls. So let us get into the volleyball learning. So as you can see that most of them, as you know, have either you have seen or you have played volleyball some or the other time while you have done schooling or secondary education. So what we are seeing is the volleyball court dimensions. See in the left side of the pic, you can see that the only difference occurs in a volleyball dimension court uh, for boys and girls is the net height for boys would be 2.43 meters and the net height for the girls would be 2.24 meters. The only difference in a volleyball court that one can observe is between for the men's court and women's court is the men courts is a height, it stays at a height of 2.43 meters, and for the women the net height is reduced to 2.24 meters, and the rest of the dimensions are like similar, and the length and breadth of the volleyball court would be 18 by 9 meters. So as you can see that there is a center line right beneath the net, it is marked, and there is a attacking line which is marked in between the end line and center line on the either side of the court. So these are like wait a second. Yeah, till now uh, we have seen two racket games and a team game, like two racket games and one team game. Today also we are going for one more team game, that is volleyball. So today we are going to learn about how a volleyball is played, as well as the rules and regulations in which how volleyball should be played. So most of them you know that either you have seen or played volleyball. See the only difference you can see between a men's and women's volleyball court is that the height of the net. So as you can see towards the left side there is a regarding the marking regarding the regarding the net. So for men, it is like 2.43 meters, and for the women's, it is reduced to 2.24 meters. That is the only difference. So as you can see that the volleyball court measurements are like 18 by 9 meters, which is divided by the center line, which is right underneath the net. So again, there is a one more line which is called as attacking line. So that is marked between the center line and the end line. So there is a servicing area, as you can see in the picture, towards the bottom of the right. So from where a player will be starting to serve the volleyball, then the game shall begin. So the only difference you can see that the difference between the difference between the men's and women's court would be issue would be the only height. The height of the men's would be a little higher, so that would be staying at 2.43 meters, and for the women's section it would be reduced to 2.24 meters, and the rest of the dimensions and the rest of the aspects of the volleyball court dimensions would be same for the both. So let us see what are the aspects of a match and what are the aspects of a team, volleyball team that should be there to start a match. So for the match, a team may consist of up to 12 players. So as you can see that for a, for a match, for the match, a team may consist up to 12 players. In these 12 players, six players would be the active players on the court, and the six players would be staying on the bench and will be termed as substitutes. These substitutes can be substituted from the active players who are playing on the court by the coaching staff. So as you can see that the team is consisting of a total of 12 players. Only six players would be active on the court. So they would be playing the game. The other six players would be resting on the bench, whom they are called as substitutes. So one of the players other than libero is the team captain, who shall be indicated on the score sheet. So as you know that in team games, there is one of the player is nominated as captain. So in similar way, in volleyball also one of the player is nominated as a captain other than libero. Who is libero? In the later part of the presentation, we will see uh, what kind of a player is nominated as a libero. So only the players recorded on the score sheet may enter the court and play in the match. So these are like technical aspects, and the players who are recorded on the score sheet before the start of the play, and the score sheet is submitted to officials. Only those players who are registered on the score sheet shall play the game. So both the team and coach are responsible for the conduct and discipline of the team members. The liberos cannot be either team or game captaincy. One more technical point: if you are nominating any of the player from your side as a libero, so he shall not be the captain of the game or the match. So you can be confused what is the captain of a game, what is called as a captain of a team. See, captain of team is like he would the player who is nominated as a captain, he would be staying as a captain for the whole match. So if a captain is substituted in the middle of the game, so the one of the other person would be nominated as the captain of the team, so he would be called as game captain. So it is simple. So during the match and while on the court, the team captain is the game captain, as I have mentioned just now. So the difference between the team captain and game captain is that the game captain is for a temporary time. So the moment the team captain has got injured or is substituted due to some technical reason, so some other player is nominated, so he would be called as game captain. Other than that, for the whole match, the actual captain would be holding the responsibilities of a captain. So let us see how to score a point in volleyball. So as you know that the volleyball is played by two teams, and they are consisting of six players on the either side of the net. That is, you can call as either side of the court. So when point, so a team scores a point by successfully landing the ball on the opponent's court. So these are the aspects by which a team can score a point against their opponents. So point number one would be, so a team can score a point by successfully landing the ball on the opponent's court. So the moment the team is able to, if a player from one of the team is able to make the ball to land on the opponent's side of the court, then his team would score a point. So when the opponent team commits a fault, when the opponent team receives a penalty, this is other kind of criteria. You can observe that this is other kind of aspect. If your opponent team is committing a foul, then you will be getting a point. This is one more aspect of a point by which a team can score a point in volleyball game. So what is a foul? A team commits a fault by making a playing action contrary to the rules. So there are some technical rules. We will be going through this presentation and we will observe what kind of technical rules one player or one team should consider while during the gameplay, or else in fact if they go beyond the rules and regulations of the gameplay, then the fault is observed by the referee and the point shall be awarded to their opponent team. So the referee judges the fault and determines consequences according to the rules. If two or more faults are committed successfully, only the first one may be counted. So if two or more are faults are committed by the opponent simultaneously, so a double fault is called and the rally is replayed. So these are like a technical issues. So let us see what a rally and what is a completed rally. So as you can see, that rally is a type of gameplay which occurs during in between the gameplay. So the moment a ball is served towards the opponent courts, and if it is returned again consecutively, if it is the both the teams are returning the ball to each other side, then the kind of gameplay is called as rally. So a rally is the sequence of playing actions from the moment of the service. Just now, as I have said, if the ball is moved consecutively to the either side of the court by the two teams, then the kind of gameplay is called as a rally. A completed rally is a sequence of playing actions which results in awarding a point. So you cannot expect that the rally cannot be going on. See, either of the team will try to score a point. So the moment the rally gets halted, so one of the team, if they are making their opponent to commit a foul, then they shall score the point easily for themselves. So how a rally is completed, this includes the award of a penalty, loss of service for the service hit made after the time limit. If the service team wins a rally, it scores a point and continues to serve. If the service team wins a rally, it scores a point and it must serve next. If the receiving team wins a rally, it scores a point and it must serve next. See, it is simple to understand. See, if the match is start again, let us observe that the match is start by a toss. So after the toss, one of the side chooses either to serve or receive. So if it is choosing the to serve, the opponents will be choosing the side of the court. So let us hope that the match is getting started by one of the team chooses to serve. So if they are the one of the player from the team who has won the toss and choose to serve started the service. So the moment they get the point, the service will be staying within themselves. So the service will be done by the same player time and again till the service is break by their opponents by scoring a point. So you can say that the moment the service is done by the one of the team, if they try to if they get points continuously, the service remains with themselves. Only if it is break, the service goes to the opponent point and they will score a point. It is as simple as that. If you are having the service and you are scoring points, the service will remain with yourselves. If your service is break, the service will also go to your opponents and the point is also will be awarded to your opponents. So that is the type of gameplay and how a match is started in volleyball. So let us see how to win a set in volleyball. So a set, except the deciding fifth set is won by a team which scores 25 points with a minimum lead of 2 points. So all type of scoring systems need a difference of 2 points until they reach the highest number of points for a set which is limited by the volleyball gameplay. So each set is played for a 25 points except for the fifth set. So let us see again. A set is won by the team which first scores 25 points with a maximum lead of 2 points. So officially a volleyball game is played for a best of 5 sets. So for the very first 4 sets, every set is played for a maximum of 25 points. The one team who reaches the 25 points first, they will be awarded the set. So they will be winning the set. So in case if there is a 24-24 tie, so both of the teams are reaching the scoring system up to 24 all, then the play is continues until a 2 point lead is observed, like 26-24, 27-25, etc. The match is won by the team that wins 3 sets. So it is a very common thing. The match is played for a best of 5 sets. So the team who is winning the 3 sets would be awarded the match. So in that case of a 2-2 tie, so if the game has started and the both teams have won best of 2 sets, so the deciding set is played for 15 points with a maximum lead of 2 points. So the only technical aspect of these sets is the very first 4 sets is played for 25 points. So the only fifth set is played for 15 points. In the case of the first 4 sets is are equally shared by the both of the teams. So what is the structure of play? As I have said earlier, the toss. Before the match, the first referee carries out a toss to decide upon the first service and the sides of the court to be chosen in the first set. If the deciding is set is to be played, a new toss will be carried out. The toss is taken in the presence of the two team captains. The winner of the toss chooses the right to serve or to receive the service. The side of the court. The loser takes the remaining choice. So there are like two choices, either the captain of the team who wins the toss, either he can take service or receive, or he can choose the code. If he chooses one of the option, the other option would be going to their opponent side. So team starting lineup, as I have said earlier, there must be 6 players per team in play. So a volleyball team is consisting of 6 players in a team. So a total of 12 players, but only 6 players are active on the court. So the team's starting lineup indicates the rotational order of the players on the court. This order must be maintained throughout the set. So what is rotational order? Let us see in detail in the coming slides, coming presentation. So the rotational point of view is very crucial in the volleyball gameplay. So one needs to observe it very carefully because it is a crucial point of it affects the players positions in the volleyball court. So one needs to understand it very detailedly. So as you can see that this rotational order should be maintained throughout the set. So before the start of the set, coach presents the starting lineup of his or her team lineup via electronic device if used. So these are all technical aspects which are to be followed by the coaching staff. So the players who are not in the starting lineup of a set are the substitutes for that set. So except the liberos. Again, we will be talking detail about the libero player point of view. So all these once the lineup sheet has been delivered to the second referee or scorer, all these points. So I'm not going through all these points. These are like technical points related to the officials or coaching staff. So we will be looking mainly towards the point of views of gameplay. So that a player can understand and he can easily learn how to play volleyball. So there are like positions. At the moment the ball is hit by the server, each team must be positioned within its own court in the rotational order, except the server. See, again we are coming to the same point, the rotational order. The rotational order can be described as the positions of the players which they are there to be in the volleyball court by a team whenever a game is played. The moment a volleyball team is scoring point, every point they will be rotating themselves in a anti-clockwise directions within the court except for the servers, because the moment the point is gaining by the same team, the server would be the same, the player who is doing the service would be the same. So the positions of the players are numbered as follows. The 3 players along the net are front row players. So you can see that there are 6 active players on the court. So 3 would be at the front of the court and 3 would be at the back of the court. So they can be called as front row players and the back row players. So they occupy the positions. The front row players occupy positions as front left, front center, front right. See, other 3 back row players can be called as back left, back center, and back right. See, these terminologies are mentioned as simple as that. So they are also given some scientific like there are specific names to their gameplay. See, like the players who are at the front of the court. The players who are at the front of the court are also called as the spikers, and the spikers for an example. So we will, in the later part of the presentation we will be discussing the actual names of the positions of the players and the kind of gameplay they execute during the gameplay. So, so let us see it in a diagrammatic representation. So on the left side of the picture, you can see the rotational positions, and at the right side of the picture, you can see the playing positions. So you can see that how a rotation is made. So you can see that how a rotation is made. So let us think that there are six players. You concentrate on the left side of the position, left side of the presentation, and you can see that there are we have marked the players towards the left side of the court as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and you can see the arrow marks mentioning the change of the player's position. That is like rotation. They are rotating themselves in a clockwise direction. I need to correct myself again. The rotation of the players would be in a clockwise direction. So the moment one is servicing, let us think that, let us imagine number one is servicing the ball. So the let us think that the game is about to start. So the player positions would be the same. So if the team is scoring a point, the moment the team is scoring point, two comes to the sixth position, five goes to the fourth position, four goes to the third position, third comes to the second position. Everyone changes their position one step towards the rotation direction. So everybody moves to the other player's position the moment a point is scored. So after the gameplay, so they need not to be in the same position. They can move here and there. They can play according to the gameplay. So, but only when the service is about to start, only immediately after the point is scored, they need to follow this kind of rotational positions. So on the left side, it is as simple as that. They need to be in those sort of positions. The moment they score a point, they need to shift one position towards their right side. So on the right side of the presentation, you can see that the playing positions. So as I said earlier, just basically we have defined the front row players and back row players in a very basic manner. So here we are giving them some specific names like opposite hitter, setter, libero, outside hitter, and once again outside hitter, middle blocker. So these are like a specific names. They will be performing a specific gameplays while during the gameplay based on their positions. So positional fault. So what is a positional fault? So the team commits a positional fault if any player is not in his or her correct position at the moment the ball is hit by the server. See, so let us get back again to the presentation. In the rotational position, you can see that everyone needs to follow this kind of rotational position, and that rotational positions are keenly observed by the officials. If any one of the player who is not committing get back into the rotational position properly, then the position fault is committed by the team or the player. See, when a player is on court through illegal substitution and play restarts, this is counted as a positional fault. These faults are keenly observed by the officials, as you can see that the positional faults are committed just because not following the basic rotational positions by the team players of a team. So the some other description about these positions for the technical terms related to the official. Let us not get back into that. But the only basic thing one needs to know, that one player needs to know and one team needs to know, that they should follow the proper rotational positions in their respective positions, and they should rotate themselves the moment they score a point. So that would be a proper gameplay. So once again, we can see that there are some points we have mentioned here regarding the rotation of the service. Again, in the right side of the picture, you can see that the rotation is made in a clockwise direction for the both teams. So the moment point is scored, a team needs to change their position immediately. Only at the point of service, the rotational point of view is seen and it is observed. So it is as simple as that. So a rotation is made of a clockwise direction, and one needs to change their position towards in a clockwise direction to the other player position, and need to change themselves in that order whenever a point is scored. So the rotation order is determined the team's starting lineup and controlled within the service order and player's position throughout the set. So when the receiving team has gained the right to serve, it players rotate one position clockwise. The player in position two rotates to position one to serve. The player in position one goes back to the position number six. The position number six player goes back to position number five. And in similar way, everyone changes their position in a clockwise direction. So this is a detailed explanation you can go through. It is as simple as that. So additionally, once again, I am not going through all these points, and because the way I am explaining, you can understand it very easily. These are some like technical aspects of the rotational point of view. The only basic thing you need to know is the moment you are getting a serve, or the moment you are breaking down the opponent's serve, you need to change your rotations by one position in a clockwise direction. So let us see, there are different kinds of there are different kinds of states of play. One which is ball in play, the other one is ball out of play, ball in, ball out. So let us see what ball in play. The ball is in play from the moment of the hit of the service authorized by the first service. See, if a player from one of the team is about to do the service, the moment he is doing the service and the ball is entering into the opponent over the net towards their opponent court, and the game is started to have a rally, then the ball is said to be in play position. So ball out of play, the ball is out of play at the moment of the fault, which is whistled by one of the referees in the absence of a foul at the moment of the whistle. Ball out of play is simple. You can see it in a two ways. So one which is fault committed by a player, or other, if a team is trying to score a point and hits the ball over the net towards their opponent court, and the ball lands on the outside of the court, then the point shall be awarded to the opponent courts. Then the ball is called out of play. So it is simple. So ball, if it is remains in a rally, then it is called in play. If it is stays outside of the rally and the point is dead and the point is awarded to any one of the team, then it is called as out of play. So ball in. A ball is in if at any moment of its contact with the floor, some part of the ball touches the court, either the boundary lines, then it is called as in. So here comes the importance of the court marking. The moment a team is tries to make the ball land on the opponent's court, if it touches the floor within the dimensions, or else it is touching the boundary lines, then the ball is called as in. And one more is the ball out. The ball is out when all parts of the body which contacts the floor outside of the dimension of the line marking, then the ball is called as out. So there are these are the four kinds of gameplays uh, uh, for a ball to be happening in a gameplay. So one which is in play, out of play, which is ball in and ball out. So the ball is also called out when there are some other technical aspects. It touches an object outside of the court, the ceiling, or a person out of play. Then it can be called as out. It touches the antenna, ropes, post, or the net itself outside the side bands. See what is antenna, as you can see in the volleyball court, right at the poles. So right at the sidelines, the poles are placed. So what is the importance of antenna? See, the moment a rally is played, a team needs to make the ball travel within the antenna section. So they cannot make the ball to move on to the other side of the court outside of the antennas region. So within the antennas region, that is within the 9 meters range, which they are placed at on the either side of the sidelines, right at the center of the poles. So then the one needs to make the ball travel within the antennas. So the importance of the antenna stays like that. Let us get into the next presentation. Falls in playing the ball. So there are some things one needs to observe while playing a ball. So there is a kind of gameplay by which a volleyball is played. So a volleyball can be only passed with a minimum of three hits, which can be taken by a team to make the ball to get back to the other side of the volleyball court. So in that aspect, a four hits would be a fault. A team hits the ball four times before returning it shall be called as a fault. So four hits is not allowed by a team. So the moment a ball is coming to the one side of the court and the teams are making the ball to get returned to their opponent's court within three passes, either they can send it by one pass, two pass, or within the three passes, then it should be called as a legal pass. So a study, a player takes support from the teammate or any structure object in order to hit the ball within the playing area. This shall be also called as foul. See catch. The ball cannot be caught or thrown. It does not rebound from the hit. So it is a basic thing. The very game word volleyball consisting of volley. Either they can volley the ball or either they can tap the ball into the opponent courts, but they cannot catch the ball or throw the ball, so it shall be called as a fault. So double contact, a player hits the ball twice in succession or the ball contacts various part of the body in success. In the point of making a volley, if a player is if the ball is contacting the hands of the player as well as the chest, shoulders, or any part of the player, if it touches two parts of the body simultaneously, and then it shall be called as fault, and the fault is termed as double fault. So ball crossing the net. So you can see that how a ball should be crossing the net. The ball sent to the opponent's court must go over the net within the crossing space. What is within the crossing space? As I have mentioned you earlier, there is a arrangement of antennas on the net itself. So the player or a team needs to send the ball within that antenna zone, which is antenna zone towards their opponent side. So crossing the space is a part of vertical plane of the net limited as follows: top of the net and the sides of the net by the antenna, and there is an imaginary extension above. One needs to understand, to above by the ceiling. The ball that has crossed the net plane to the opponent's free zone totally or partly through the external space may be played back within the team hits, provided that the opponent's court is not touched by the player. See, again, once again, we are getting into so much detail. So the basic thing you need to understand in ball crossing the net is the, as I have said earlier, the ball should be moved towards opponent court within the region of the antennas which are placed on the net. So ball touching the net. While crossing the net, the ball may touch it. So this is one more point. One needs to observe that most of there is a fake thing that can be going around in volleyball. It's a dilemma for the most of the guys that if the ball touches the net, whether it is called as a fault or not. No, even though during a serve or during a rally, if a ball is touching the net and it is falling on the other side of the court, it shall be called as a legal pass by a team or a player. So ball in the net. A ball driven into the net may be recovered within the limits of the three hits of team. So you can see that if a rally is going on and if a ball is driven into the net, so by a team, so within those three chances, so if a pass is made and if it is hitting the net, it is driven into the net, so the team still has two more chances to make sure that the ball can reach the other side of their opponent's court. So ball in the net aspect would be termed as would be explained as this. So as you can see that the ball driven which is driven into the net still can be still can be sent into their opponent courts with the remaining two passes. So penetration under the net. So this aspect comes to the players who stay at the front court and they play for a defense or offensive gameplay. It is permitted to penetrate into the opponent's place under the net, provided that this does not interfere with the opponent's play. So one thing you can see that penetration into the opponent's court beyond the center line should be as follows: to touch the opponent courts with a foot is permitted, provided at the same time some part of the penetrating foot remains either in the contact with or directly above the center line. To touch the opponent court with any part of the body above the feet is permitted, provided that it is not interfering with the opponent's play. So you can see that, let me explain it in a simple manner. Penetration under the net, where the central line remains. So let us imagine that a gameplay is about to start, and one of the front row player is trying to have a kind of gameplay. Either he is blocking or he is offering a aggressive gameplay towards his opponents. So he has lost control over his positional while landing on the floor. So one of the foot of his goes back to into goes into his opponent's area. So when it is called fold, so if his whole part of the foot crosses the center line, then it shall be called as fold. If some part of the foot remains on the center line or is above the center line, then it shall not be called as a fold by the referee. So it is a simple thing. The moment you cross the center line, it is called as a center line fold while the game is in play. One needs to observe that while in the gameplay, during the game is going on, if a center line is crossed by any one of the player of a team, then it is called as a foul. If the ball is dead, if the player is hitting for an aggressive shot and he smashes the ball and the point is scored, after that he is landing on the floor and is crossing the center line, then it shall not be counted as a foul violation. So contact with the net by a player between the antenna during the action of playing the ball is a foul. The action of playing the ball includes takeoff, hit, or and landing safely, ready for a new action. Players may touch the post, ropes, or any other object outside the antenna, including the net itself, provided that it does not interfere with the play. So once again, let me explain you it in a simple manner. Contact with the net. So the position of the court where the gameplay is happening. If the two players from the either side of the team are trying to make a kind of gameplay at the net position, if one of the player touches the net, then it may be called as a foul by the player who has touched the net. So the point will be awarded to the opponent team. So when it is not called a foul is if a player touches the net where at that position any kind of gameplay is not happening, then it shall not be called as a foul by a referee. So simple as that. If a gameplay is happening at that position of the net, if a player touches the net, it is called as a foul. It is called as a foul. When it is not called a foul is the position of the player at that net where any kind of gameplay is not happening. So gameplay happening, net touching, called a foul. Gameplay not happening, player touching the net, called not a foul. So simple, only two aspects in a fault to be done by a player at the net. So let us get back into the next aspect of the gameplay, which is serve. The serve is the act of putting the ball into play by the back right player placed in the service zone. First service in a net. The first service of the first set as well as the third, fifth set is executed by the determined by the toss. So for the first four sets, the service is rotated between the team, and for the deciding fifth set, the service is decided by a toss by the referee. So by a toss, a match is started. By a service, a game is started. We can explain this as simple as that. So the service by the service, if a service is done properly, the game is started officially. So execution of the service. So the ball shall be hit with only with one hand or any part of the arm after being tossed and released by the even by the other part of the arm, hand, or with the same hand. So there are two. So as you can see that there are two types of service done by the player. Either he will be tossing the ball with the other arm and he will be hitting with his right arm, or else The toss will be done with the same hand and he will hit the ball with the same hand. So there are two aspects of doing the service, and there are different types of service. You can see that side arm service, the tennis service, which is an aggressive service, and the one which is a basic service, which is called as underarm service, which is the service is done using your underarm. So there are three kinds of service, which I'm explaining it verbally, which is not mentioned in the presentation. So one which is a round arm service, which is the service is done by the sideways of your hand. The movement of the hand is in sideways, and you are servicing the ball to your opponent courts. And the other one is which is an aggressive serve, which is very difficult for your opponent to return, which is a tennis service. You are tossing the ball towards upwards and taking a jump position. You are hitting the ball like a player in a smash position does, spiking position does. And one more basic thing is that it is a very easy service and it can be controlled very easy. The underarm service, the execution of the service. So we have seen the execution of the service. While execution of the service, a player needs to do the service within 8 seconds. Immediately after the first referee whistles the service. So most of the time, try to listen to me, or else you can go through the content very quickly, because the whole content may consist of some technical points. The way I am explaining the basic thing of the each aspects of the gameplay. So a player is not permitted to touch the end line while doing a service. So if he is touching the line while doing a service, then he or she shall be called as committing a service fault. So after the toss, he needs after the tossing, he will be hitting the ball and the service is done properly and the gameplay is started. See, and there are some faults made by the players during the service. So faults after the service, after the ball has been hit correctly, the service become false unless a player is out of position. So this is also comes under the, if the player is making a rotational fault during a service, then it would be called as a service fault. So if the server makes the fault at any moment of this service, improper execution, wrong rotational order. So if a opponent is out of position, then it is called as a fault and it is called by the official. So the main faults during a service would be now one needs to keep in their mind is touching the end line. Most of them, they take the advantage of the end line and they want to come as near as possible towards the end line, and they want to do the service to take the advantage of the dimensions. So in that moment they might be touching the end line and they may commit a fault. That is the one of the basic fault frequently committed by the volleyball players. So let us see different type of hits that can be made in a volleyball. Characteristics of the attack hit: all the actions which direct the ball towards the opponent, exception of service, are considered as attack hits. During an attack hit, tipping is permitted only if the ball is cleanly hit and not caught or thrown. See what is tipping means. See, if you are going for a complete spike, a player would be hitting the ball with his arm very ferociously with a greater force. So what is tipping? So if a player tries to hit the ball in a spiking position and if he is not able to make his position properly, he will tip the ball so that he will be seeing a convenient position in his opponent's court where there is a free space left over. So using the tipping kind of hit, he will place the ball with some average speed. So this tipping should be done properly. He neither can throw the ball or neither can catch the ball. If the referee observes that the tipping is not done properly, then he would be calling that gameplay as fault and the point is awarded to the opponents. So one more thing is that blocking comes into the gameplay where the opponents try to form a spiking gameplay. When one of the players from opponents try to spike the ball and tries to get a winner and tries to make the ball land on your side of the court, one or two players will try to jump as much high as they can, and they will keep their hands upwards and block the region from where the opponent player is trying to hit the ball. So this kind of positional movement is called as blocking. A block attempt is the action of blocking without touching the ball. Completed block. When a block movement is completed, a block is completed whenever the ball is touched by a blower. Collective block. A collective block is executed by two or three players closer to the net to each other and is completed when the one of them touches the ball. So a block can be attempted by a single player, two players, or three players to block the region from where your opponent is trying to make a smash, which is an aggressive hit. So let us get into the technical aspect of a libero. As we have seen during the start of the match, one team needs to register libero from their team composition. So if once the moment a libero is designated and is nominated by a team, he shall not be made a captain. There are some technical aspects related to the libero. So let us see what are the aspects. So each team has the right to designate the players on the score sheet to up to two specialist defensive players. As you can see that the basic responsibility of a libero player would be a defensive. He or she, the player who is nominated as a libero, will stay at the center of the court, and he would be termed as a playmaker for the whole team. So two liberos are mandatory in the team list. All liberos must be recorded on the score sheet. The libero on count is the acting libero. If there is another libero, is the second libero from the team. So these are some aspects of the libero in the point of view of the gameplay. And one more different thing which differentiates the libero from the other players is that the libero wears a different kind of color t-shirt within the team. See, suppose if a whole team is wearing yellow, the libero jersey would be in black. So specifying his special position. So you can name the libero as a special position in the whole six players of a volleyball team. So, what are the actions that can be done by libero? Libero is allowed to replace any player in back row position. He is there to perform as a back row player, and he is not allowed to complete an attacking hit form. Either he can set up the ball, he can volley the ball, but he cannot smash the ball from the front row position. So what the things a libero cannot do is he cannot attack the ball. So he cannot complete an attack hit when the ball is entirely higher than the top of the net. If the ball is coming from the overhand finger pass by a libero, the ball may be freely attacked by the libero in the same action outside of the friend zone. So all the gameplay which is done by the libero is from the backside of the court, which is differentiated by the attack line. He cannot get back into the friend zone, which is the attack zone, and he can make a playmaking. All the thing that libero is doing is that he's a kind of a playmaker. He's setting up the balls for the his teammates. So he cannot go for the attacking kind of gameplay. He stays back in his backcourt. So one more thing is that bump. The bump is the basic pass in volleyball. It is used when receiving a serve or reacting to a opponent's attack. The player should be holding his arms away from the body at a 90 degrees angle with his hands together. Knees should be bent. The ball comes in contact with the lower forearm just above the wrist. So after contact, the arm should point towards the target. Over swinging of the arms is a common mistake when perfecting the bump. So this is another kind of pass that can be made during a volleyball play. So the next is a set. A setting, as you can see that what is a set? A set is a typical kind of frontline pass, mostly done by the libero player. So most of the times, a setting is done to make a comfortable position for your front row player to play an aggressive smash towards the opponent court. So setting is done by the your hand which is directed towards the upward direction, and the ball is tapped with your finger pads, and it is laid off in the air towards your same team player so that he can pass the ball in a better position. Set, the very word itself means that the set is nothing but you're setting the ball for your teammates. So once again, we are seeing a spike, which is an aggressive hit that is made in a volleyball game. So the players who are at the front row has an opportunity to make a spike gameplay. So the moment a ball is setted for them by their teammates, they will take a jump as much high as they can at the point of the net. They will contact the ball by swinging their arm towards forwards in a smash direction, and they will try to place on the opponent's floor, and they will try to score a point. So most of the time, uh, the the returning of a spike is very difficult. One needs to be in a one player or one team needs to be in a high alert in tackling the spike. So the other one is block. If a team or player is attempting from one side of the court a spike, the other teams try to change their positions and try to jump as much as high they can and raise their arms and try to block the whole position and region where the spiker is at from the other side of the court, and they try to block the ball which is about to be smashed by their opponent player, so that they'll play a defensive kind of position. They will make sure that the spike is not made properly by the opponent player. So in the given picture, you can see that how a smash is made. The whole movement, right away from the adjusting your steps, you are taking a left step, you are taking a one step right, and bending on your knees. You are leaping towards upward direction, and you are taking a jump, and you are throwing up yourself. So whole kind of body movement you needs to come together while you need to do this kind of spikes. So in the top position, you can see that the player is blocking the spike, and at the bottom of the picture, you can see that the player movements for a spiking gameplay. So in the top motion, the player is raising his hands and blocking the whole area as much as he can in front of the spiker. And in the bottom of the picture, you can see that the player taking an aggressive aggressive leap for himself to spike the ball to score a point. So all these body postures, body movements needs to come into place while you are doing a blocking or spiking in a volleyball gameplay. So once again, you can see very briefly how a blocking is made. Either the play can move sideways, adjusting his position according to the spiker's position. See, the player can move from right side to left side or a left side to right side, and he needs to jump right at the same time when the spiker is jumping for a to hit the smash to hit a smash. So the player who is blocking the ball needs to check his position according to his opponent player who is about to spike. So passing. So a very kind of picture, you can see that the player is about to do a volley, which is an actual terminology of a volleyball. So one can volley the ball with both of his hands placed together by holding very close to each other. At the very right side of the court, you will be arranging a platform for your hands where the ball is getting contacted, so that the ball is passed properly. Volleying of the ball is one sort of a pass where you can pass the ball using both of your hands very close to each other, and you are arranging a platform for yourself where the volleyball can be placed on your arms. So this is a proper kind of passing that needs to be done in a volleyball. So once again, setting. Now we have discussed the kind of passes that are made in volleyball. Now we are seeing the picture representation, how it is placed, how the body movements needs to be done right while doing this kind of passings. So this is a kind of setting mostly done by libero, as we have discussed earlier. So any other player at the front of the court can do this to keep their same team player in a very suitable manner for hitting a smash. The setting is done by any player of the team. So you are bending on the knees and you are raising your arms by showing your hands towards upward directions, and you are touching the ball with your fingerprints. Fingerprints. You can touch the ball only with your fingerprints. Then only it is called as setting. If you are catching the ball and if you are throwing the ball by having a fraction of second holding the ball, then it is termed as a committed foul by the umpire by yourself. So setting is as easy as that. You need to bend, you need to take the proper height, and you should make sure that while you are volleying the either you are volleying the ball, and the ball should be, you should be behind the ball. So there are two basic aspects. While you are doing a volley, you should be behind the ball. While you are doing a setting, the ball should be above your shoulders so that you can bend down and you can tap the ball with your finger pads, and you can place the ball to your own teammate in a very comfortable position. So once again, in the whole volleyball gameplay, we have seen that the team composition, how a match is started, how a gameplay is made, what are the rotational positions of a player, what are the kinds of passes that are made, how a service is made, what are the different kinds of services, and how the faults are committed during the rotational gameplay, or during the net gameplay, or while during the serve. Everything we have seen, these are like basic aspects. Once you go through these basic aspects, one any one individual can get into the code, and he or she can start playing the volleyball. And once again, I repeat you that all these learning activity sessions regarding some games and sports will help you the moment you come to the campus and you are having very beautiful volleyball court, which is a red soil court, and you can start playing volleyball in our college by going all through this in your leisure times after you completing your classwork. So hopefully you go through this session very carefully and you try to learn how to play these games as much as you can. And while you the moment you start playing it practically, you will be getting interested to gameplay, and you can get whole lot of health benefits while playing these games, even though whether it is a team game or whether as a individual game, as we have discussed earlier in previous sessions. So all these games, if you play for about 30 minutes or 1 hour every day, you'll getting whole lot of health benefits for yourself. So once again, you can see that health benefits of a volleyball: it burns calories and fat, it tones and shapes the body, it increases your metabolic rate, it improves hand-eye coordination, it builds agility, coordination, speed and balance, it builds your muscular strength, it increases your aerobic ability. Apart from this, there are still some more kind of benefits that you can gain from a volleyball, which is a team game. It offers you the teamwork, leadership qualities in every which way. So once again, by winding up this session, once again I remind you that, see, stay tuned to these kind of sessions, which are like extracurricular activities, which helps you in daily day-to-day life to maintain your fitness, and will make your mind very refreshed and get back to your academic work very quickly, and to concentrate on your academic work in a very serious way. So once again, I thank you one and all for joining today's session, and I hope that you have learned a very basic thing, basic aspects of your volleyball, and these basic aspects of volleyball would be enough for you guys to get back to the court and play the volleyball immediately. So once again, I request you to stay tuned to your upcoming sessions, and once again, thank you one and all.